What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Unqualified Sports Talk. We got someone qualified in the building today, everyone. The golden voice of what seems to be like every sport on planet Earth, Gary Erdelyi. Welcome, Gary. We're pumped to have you on the show, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I also like being called qualified. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take it. It's one of the first times I've been called it. So
Well, listen, when we see you on TV, you're way more qualified than me watching you from the couch. You understand that? So,
Yeah, and I mean,
maybe a
I
little.
gave your resume a quick look on the way over, and I mean, you're definitely qualified.
The one thing I love about my resume and like obviously like I've been in certain places more often, but like there's random places that's all like what is there? How'd that happen? Like so obviously, like when I was talking with Bryce, he mentioned a lot of stuff that I do with the Ivy, uh, specifically like Penn, but I do it for Penn, Princeton. I've been to other Ivies and stuff like that. So it's like really weird how the two places I'm at, and on my resume, it says Penn and Princeton. So like anyone who like knows about the Ivy, it's all like, what is wrong with this kid?
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We were watching the other night. It was the Princeton at Penn, I think it
Yeah.
was. And I had some money on that game, and you happened to show up. So
So it's
right place,
really
right time.
it's really funny when you mention the gambling aspect of it, because like I obviously am in broadcasting and around collegiate athletics, but my friends aren't, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So
right.
my friends are the same age, they're 23, 24 years old, and obviously they like sports and they like to gamble a little bit on it.
You have to. If you're a sports fan,
Exactly.
gambling
For
comes with
sure.
it.
Yeah, and I have no problem with it if that's how you do it, by all means. And I think it does add a little bit of intrigue and makes things a little bit fun from a fan perspective, absolutely. But I've done games like I remember I was doing sideline for the Cathedral Classic, where it's Penn, Hartford, Colgate, and I'm blanking on the Udell. My friends were texting me during these games being all like, "Oh, this guy's screwing me over." Blah, 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 blah. They're betting on games while I'm at the games, and I'm all like, "Dude, you gotta stop texting me right now. Like,
You're
this is
not.
the worst time."
You're not allowed to gamble at the games you're at, are you?
So it's a little weird my way of going about it
Okay.
as a freelancer when I'm on air broadcasting and stuff like that. Legally, I'm pretty sure it's not illegal.
Yeah.
It's in a way frowned upon.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure.
not a
Probably.
it's not a good look. And I'm currently back in school to get my master's. I'm a GA at Ryder in Lawrenceville. So I am an employee at a collegiate university, so I cannot.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that was one question I was going to ask you too, because it seems like who is it? I think it's Jim Nance in the NFL,
hmm.
notorious gambler. Like obviously he's legendary broadcaster, or maybe it's Al Michaels I'm thinking of.
Hmm.
But and you can kind of tell when he might have a little skin in the game and he's not doesn't quite. So I wanted to ask you, I guess, from someone that knows, can you tell when these guys are a little bit biased when, or maybe the people you're working with are a lot more big J journalists, better broadcasters, but
So I think in the collegiate landscape, if you watch a game on ESPN Plus, if you turn on any really ESPN Plus type game, uh, where it's a lot of in-house stuff, they're all biased. They're all biased, in some way, shape, or form, right? And whether it's a slight edge or like none that you could see or hear, they're probably a little biased. Like, right? So a lot of those guys will work for the school individually. Their checks say Lafayette or whatever.
yeah,
Like that's who pays them, and obviously they work for the school. Obviously, they're going to have a little bit of a lean to said school if they do well. That means they get more games, they get more money, and all that stuff. Uh, when you get to like games like right now, a good friend of mine who is Princeton's men's basketball voice, Derek Jones. He is currently in Norfolk, Virginia, doing Norfolk State NC Central. I could tell you right now, he has no stake in that game. He does not care.
Well, dude, even with me, I turn on just one of the most random games ever, and I'll even pick a side even if there's no money involved.
Yeah,
So I feel like it would be.
yeah.
Logos,
I like the
colors.
way their shooting guard shoes look. I'm cheering for that team.
I think also like if you're in a spot like where you're totally neutral and you're calling it, you kind of usually end up siding for one of two things, either the home team because the crowd's getting involved, all
Right.
this stuff is kind of taking over, and then obviously if someone's got like a crazy good story, right? If there's always little things that can get you leaning to that side.
Mm-hmm.
I think on like an NFL level and a like pro level, I think play-by-play guys specifically, a lot of them don't have as much as a lean as people think. And the one people love to target is Joe Buck, with his like. So I grew up a Giants fan. I'm a Giants fan. Everyone says,
Pretty good
"Oh,
season this year. You'll
yeah,
take it. You'll
pumped
take
by
it.
that. Not pumped about who's in the Super Bowl, but we can talk about
I'm
that in a
sure.
little bit.
Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll pull him over Mahomes any day. I'm sorry about it.
I don't know about that, but
I'm sorry about it.
it's good. It's cool. But like Joe Buck, he gets a lot of flag because they say, oh, well, he's biased. And the same thing with him and Troy Aikman. Oh, they're super biased to the Cowboys. Not entirely. Obviously, Aikman. Yeah,
Yeah,
duh.
for sure.
He's gonna want the Cowboys to be better than everybody else. That's obvious. Joe Buck's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of those guys, they just want to see a good game. So if you hear them start shitting on teams a little bit, sorry to curse, start talking bad a little bit on teams and stuff, the game's probably not that good. I remember one broadcast that I said yesterday was the nail in the coffin for Joe Buck leaving Fox was Giants Cowboys like the year before he announced the jump. It was like it was the year where the Eagles rested all the starters so that the Commanders walked into the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
The worst game ever. The Giants won. Nobody should have won that game. But I could have sworn I heard Joe Buck send it to break like 3 times, being all like, "We're stuck here too, guys. Sorry." Like,
He just didn't want to be there at all.
yeah, a lot of these guys just want like good games, and that's kind of how I base it. Like, I just want a good game, but obviously, if there's a story, you're pushing the story,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You have
That's
to.
kind of the idea.
And speaking of stories, I guess give us a little bit of background of how you came to want to be a presence on TV, and work in sports broadcasting.
So I think like almost every kid growing up, I'm sure you guys kind of had the same idea. You wanted to play something professionally.
Oh,
when you
dude,
were playing.
I was an NFL receiver on Sundays, a ninja at night,
Yeah.
and pastor on Sundays too somehow. So that's what my mom tells me I wanted to be.
Exactly.
Didn't turn out to be any of them.
So everybody wanted to do that. And then so I wanted to be that so bad. I wanted to be a football player my entire life. And then I got to like 8th grade and I was all like, I'm not that good. Like I'm not that good. I played in high school and I was like, I'm fine. Like in high school, like up until my sophomore year, even though I was like JV and like bottom of the barrel JV, I was like, I could walk on at a D1 school. I couldn't, no shot. But like finally in my junior year, I was like, yeah, that dream's not happening, Gary. Uh, and I'd always watch ESPN. I think the show PTI with Wilbon and Kornhauser, those two are what got me hooked on just watching
Really?
sports television.
I don't really hear PTI too much for some reason.
No, a lot of people don't. It throws people off. And
Yeah, that's
obviously,
weird.
like, I'm going the complete opposite route of that. Like, I'm not even going into that much sports talk at this point.
Yeah.
But those are the guys that got me keeping ESPN on constantly. I'd watch NFL Live, then Around the Horn, then PTI, and then Sports Center's on, and then an NBA game's on. It was awesome. And I'd do that every night forever until, I eventually, had stuff to do regardless. But I'd still always try and make time to watch PTI because I love PTI.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what got me doing it. And then I got to school. I went to Rowan in South Jersey. If you know about Division III athletics, you know about the Rowan Profs, but not
nothing about Rowan.
yeah, no, it's totally fair. But their school's radio station, who is actually how I met my guy Derek Jones. He was the station overseer, station manager, like professor type guy. Obviously a really big sports guy. We did sports talk. I did a couple of that, and then our sports director at the time was like, "Hey, do you want to call games? We can have you do color for a random men's basketball doubleheader." It's like, sure, why not? Right?
Might as well give it a
Yeah.
shot.
And once I did it, I sucked. I was so bad. At halftime, he had to we took the headset off. He was tired. He took the headset off and he's like, Gary, you got to talk more. So, because I was just so nervous, I didn't
Yeah,
talk.
I'm sure it's one of those things where it's in your head. Man, that can't be that hard. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's so much that goes into it, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I did no prep. I was not ready for it in the slightest. I looked and I if I go back and listen to it, which I will never do, I think I have
You
it
shouldn't.
burned.
Yep,
Yeah, I
shouldn't.
think I have that burned somewhere. I don't know. But like if I go and listen back to it, I would not recognize who that was. And then time goes on. He's all like, the other guy I was working with, he was like, Gary, you gotta do play by play. Like that's what this all is. You're not gonna be a color guy in the pros. And I was like, that's a fair point. I didn't play basketball. I probably don't know as much about basketball as Jalen Rose, you know? So on and so forth. I eventually got on to do some play-by-play, and like the first game I did, some kid hit a buzzer beater, and I was all like, yeah, no, I'm doing this.
That's sweet.
It was a random trip to Montclair, New Jersey.
Montclair, New Jersey.
Yeah, the Profs and the Red Hawks battling it out for top spot in the NJAC.
Did the Profs win?
The Profs won
You guys hit the buzzer beater
on a Rob DePersia buzzer beater 3
at home.
No,
Let's go crazy.
Oh, no, I was on the road. He shushed him.
Oh.
And then there was a women's
LeBron
game
silencer after.
There was a women's game afterwards, and Rowan lost by 20, and I felt so bad for the guy.
Did you have to call that game too?
Yeah, I did color for that one though. We switched off, and I was all like, "He's got to be so pissed off that I got this great game in my first try, and he got this terrible game." And
wait, it was his first time too.
No, he did it a bunch, but he was all like, "I need another buzzer beater call for my reel," and I got, and he didn't.
Hey, I mean, right place, right time. It's better to be lucky than good.
It was a tough drive home because again he drove both ways. So
you're sitting there on cloud 9. He's sitting there in the pouring rain, trying to see the road.
I think it was raining too. I think it was perfect.
So yeah, I guess so. Have you found yourself? Do you still switch off between play-by-play to color, or are you more just solidly in play-by-play now?
So I don't do a wise man once told me never say no to a check.
Yeah, that's probably fair advice.
Yeah, if someone pays me, I'll do it, but I don't do as much of it anymore. I'm supposed to do a little bit for baseball this year, but I'm not a color guy. I find myself right now, obviously, with stuff in the Ivy. A lot of their guys, their play-by-play guys, their main guys have been doing it for so many years. So I actually have done a lot of sideline. That's probably
that's how we saw you. Yeah, was at the Penn game.
Yeah, with Penn and Princeton, and so that's kind of what I've been doing the past couple of in the basketball season, and then obviously doing wacky sport insert here. But yeah, that's mainly play-by-play, just because I'm not a former player, so it's kind of difficult to be a big color voice, and also I just have so much fun doing it. I can't shut up, so it's great.
Is basketball your favorite sport to call, or?
I've been asked this question a million times, and it's a good question. It's a great question. Yeah. I love calling basketball. However, I don't get that many chances to do it at this point. I've transitioned into this very weird space where I do everything, kind of. And it's so weird. I'm sure we'll go down kind of the range of sports, like the weirdest thing I've called. But I love calling basketball. It's so quick, it's so fast. Basketball and hockey are like my two favorite sports to call
You
because the
guys,
intensity,
we
it's
don't
just a
have
different
we don't
level.
have hockey
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not.
on TV for collegiate level, and TV, radio, nothing down in the South.
So up here, honestly, you still have to go a little bit of ways to get some
Really?
college hockey. In Jersey, we have one NCAA Division One hockey program, and that's
Mhm.
Princeton. That's it.
Ours is a club team, probably
Yeah,
a lot
Rowan
random.
had a club team. Jersey has a bunch of club teams, but that's it. Like PA has Penn State, Robert Morris, I think, defunded. So
Really?
like, there's nobody left. It's all the Big Ten, and then you have to go up to like Connecticut, and then
Well, Michigan's supposed to be a juggernaut over here.
yeah,
I don't
they
keep up with college hockey much, like I said. And when I reference like we both went to NC State.
Yeah,
Mm.
we're
North
Carolina boys through and through. Not
so
the college Carolina, but the state.
yeah,
Yeah, we went to
yeah.
NC.
Where are you guys from? Not trying to deviate, but like,
Yeah.
are you both? I think you just alluded to it. Not Carolina boys to begin with, but to NC State.
Yeah,
No,
well,
we're both from North Carolina, and
Okay.
yeah,
then met each other at
I
NC
meant it
State.
more as so I don't know how it is odd sometimes because I'll talk to people and it seems like some people know about like the kind of Tobacco Road rivalry, kind of bad blood, and then like I was in Texas one time and I was talking to somebody and he acted like he had never heard about it before, but he worked in sports, so it was just very odd. But yeah, I'm from the mountains of North Carolina. But we were roommates our freshman year at state.
Did you guys just like room random, or
Uh,
did you?
it was suite mates.
Yeah, it
So
was
you
like
Okay.
yeah, it
just
was like a
randomly
sweet situation.
walked out in the hall one day. There was Grant. Just started talking to him.
No, I respect it. Like that's how I met. Like, so I had a group of friends that went to Rowan, and then they all dipped. They were all like, "Oh,
Really?
I'm out of here," and then they just dipped. So I'm like, "All right," it's like me and like two or three kids left. So I roomed with my friend Rob, and then we ended up being with like the entire football team.
That's sweet.
And I was like, what is going on? So like I would travel essentially with the team.
Just part of it on the
So it
bus.
was well, because I was calling the games.
Oh
So
yeah.
I I remember they knew like I did it, but they didn't know how much I did it until like their first road trip they go to. This is gonna be a scary name, Hobart College in Geneva, New York. A fun one,
That's,
right? And they see me, and they're all like, uh, my guy Messiah, coolest name ever, top 10 all time
Yeah,
greatest names.
that's a pretty top 10 name. That's
It's even better when you know his last name. It's Messiah Divine. Awesome name. He sees me, so he's like getting ready for a game, and he sees his roommate that he barely knows, and he's all like, "That's a little weird." And I get back, like, we get back the night of, and he's all like, "Were you at Hobart?" I was like, "Yeah, I was calling the game." He was all like, "That is wild. I did not know you do that."
look, you guys learned so much about each other after
Yeah.
a week.
please tell me Messiah is a defensive end. I want there to be a clip of you like calling a sack by Messiah Divine.
Or
So,
a
so
a corner.
he got his name called a lot. He was not a D end. He was a running back.
Okay.
He was a pretty damn good running back too. Uh, but the biggest problem, and this is gonna deviate into a stupid rant about
Go for it. Go for
Rowan
it.
University football. Messiah was a big kid, right?
Yeah.
But he was like my height, and he was brawly. Like he's like 5'9", but like two something.
Yeah,
It's
stout
like
guy. Yeah.
big guy. And they ran the spread. Like they're running everything out of the shotgun. So he's running like draw plays. I'm like,
Why would
just
you run that guy downhill?
go
Yeah.
under center and let him go. So I kind of understand a little bit why they did it, but get the running backs. They all were like the same person. They were like the same build, all of them. And none of them, he obviously is faster than me, but like not by much.
Yeah.
They don't get to the outsides. They go
No.
north and south.
Well, and it's as the coach, you have the power to like recruit players for your system, and you're getting guys that would fit in a totally different system.
He's a hell of a running back, but not in that system. He eventually ended up transferring to Wagner in Staten Island, a D1 school. I think he did his grad year there, but like he's obviously got talent. They just did not know how to use him. But
Oh,
that's
sure.
that's my rant about nonsensical D3 football for the
I
day.
love D3 football lore.
Oh, yeah.
So
There's so much of it.
I promise I will never forget about Messiah Divine. But I guess I wanted to ask you too, because I'm, you know, I know the big names, but I wanted to ask you if there's like kind of if there was a Mount Rushmore of like play by play or commentary broadcasters, like who your picks would be.
So my like top five would be a little bit different than like a Mount Rushmore, right?
Okay.
But I think you look, so you take it by the four major sports. Number one, in my opinion, you go Doc Emmerich with hockey. He is the voice of hockey, and that's why he's the shining face on my Mount Rushmore, because nobody will ever be Doc Emmerich. No one will ever call a hockey game like Doc Emmerich. He's the best. It might be the best broadcaster ever, in my opinion. You could go then number two, go to baseball. There's been so many different great voices, but I think everyone's kind of been on the Vin Scully train. No one can kind of tell a story like Vin Scully. Um, then football and basketball. These are true toss-ups, right?
mm-hmm.
Total toss-ups. You could go Pat Summerall if you really love that. My thing is, I wasn't old enough to fully enjoy Pat, so I can't really say him. And my pick is gonna have people hate me. You know, you could also pick Al Michaels, but someone who I think currently is the best voice in football, and there's a reason ESPN paid him so much money. He's had some bad years, but his best years are fantastic. Joe Buck. I think Joe Buck has become the voice of football in the past couple of years. He's having fun. He's being so interesting. And sure, maybe him and Aikman, everyone doesn't love them too, but watch these Monday Night Football games. They're so much fun, even if the game is terrible. Joe Buck is just having
every week on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, but still, Joe Buck is doing a hell of a job.
He's drawing you in. He's keeping you there.
He's doing it. There's also.
What's your opinion on the Manning cast?
I think it's a fun little gimmick.
Yeah, that's about all it is, right?
It's a gimmick. I'll switch over to it, but like I can't watch that every week.
Well, no, dude, because they're going so in depth. Like, I just want to watch a football game. I don't really know.
Yeah, especially if it's a game I really want to like kind of dive in. They go on their little like tangents, as brothers do during the game, and it is distracting at times.
The thing I love about it is a Peyton and Eli who very well should be calling games as true color analysts. Peyton especially, but he doesn't want to. Eli would be great too, because Eli is just as funny and witty, and but he's weird, you know. He's just a quirky, weird looking dude. He's a weird, quirky dude. While Peyton, he can be serious if he needs to. Eli, no, he can't. But it's essentially like a podcast, and it's just dudes talking, and people really like that now. And I don't have a problem with it, but also if it is, you're not gonna watch the Manning cast weeks 14 through 18. No point. Don't watch it, because they're gonna be good games typically on paper.
Yeah.
They're gonna be important games.
Well, they can flex Monday night games now too. So
yeah. So who cares about those last 4 games on the Manning cast? Unless they have like, I like how they've like been bringing the guest on like it's SNL. Let's have a musical guest at halftime too. Come on, give me
halftime show.
Yeah, give me the Peyton and Eli halftime show as they do karaoke with Billie Eilish. Be awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, just true, like embrace the gimmicky aspect of it.
Yeah, and I think they're going to do more of that, but that's kind of where they've got a bulk of their audience, because it's a gimmick, and the true football fan doesn't watch it. I don't think. I think it's the people it's kind of like SNL. When do you watch SNL? It's when you like the musical guest or you like the host. That's when. Yeah. And that's fine. I like SNL, but I'm not going to watch SNL every week. There's too many weeks.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, we didn't get your basketball.
Oh, my
Really? There
basketball.
we go.
Again, kind of not a new voice, but he's calling games currently, and he's so much fun. Kevin Harlan.
Mhm.
Okay.
A lot of people would say Kevin Harlan is one of their top football guys too. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But he's my basketball guy. I think Mike Breen also. They're 1A, 1B. Take your pick.
I don't know if that would be my Mount Rushmore. I know you said it'd be controversial, but
Oh no, I definitely do. I think my
yeah.
football pick is terrible. People would hate that. And then basketball, I think there's so many great names in basketball currently. You can
Mhm.
pick whoever you want. I
Is
think
there? Oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
the only one that is totally not for debate is Doc Emmerich. But if you're not a hockey fan, fine,
Yeah,
fine. But he's
we got the Canes 2 minutes down the road, but I don't ever watch it on TV. Just go to games, have a couple beers.
that's fair.
Is there an announcer that you, if he's on, you'll click it on mute or change it to a different channel?
That's interesting.
I don't know. I think there's announcers that I'll watch and they'll take over a game sometimes, and it makes it tough to listen to. But also some of that the crown example of that is Gus Johnson. He can take over a game, and if it's a bad game, if Ohio State's blowing out Iowa 48-0, I don't really need to listen to Gus Johnson call another home run touchdown. I don't need to hear "Get Away from the Cop Speed" another time from Gus Johnson. That's fine. I'll go play whatever Madden he was on if I really want to hear it. But
I actually
I
have one.
I I,
Bill
I
Walton.
I'm very curious because a lot of people would say Joe Buck.
Bill Walton. Get him out.
That's fair. I understand.
Oh, I can't do it, man.
Why am
He
I blanking on Bryce? You'll know his he's got the photo with the Pepto Bismol that I love. The announcer,
Bismol?
old guy, older than dirt. He does like UNC Duke every year.
Dickie V.
Yes,
is it
I
Dickie
can't
V?
stand Dickie V.
So I
I
think
don't know how he's still alive.
that's kind of the thing. A lot of these older guys, they're having a tough time, especially now. It's getting really hard. I think Al Michaels is now in that camp where he just is done. Like he's done. I don't want him to be because again, I love Al Michaels,
I love Al
but
Michaels too.
he's done. He doesn't want to be here anymore. He's tired. He wants to stop calling games. Or at least his voice sounds like it. And I think Bill Walton's a little bit different. He doesn't want to stop. He just kind of wants to talk about whatever the heck he wants to talk about. The dude will go on like that's kind of the thing. He'll go on tangents about nothing.
Dude,
And some people
he
love
doesn't even
that.
speak English half the like what is he talking about 3/4 the time he's talking?
Some people really like
No,
that
I
because
can't do it.
he is telling a good story. Nobody knows what the hell the story is, but he's telling a good story. So like he is really good in like Twitter compilation clips,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. He's fantastic for an Arizona State Colorado game that is like Arizona State's winning by 30, and I'm just
Yeah.
listening to him just I mean, I'm trying to remember what game it was, but he told his partner, I don't know what stadium we're in. He was I don't know what he had taken that night
Having a tough time.
or
I do love that about Bill Walton because also he does have that vibe of just like he never knew where he was. Like
at all.
he's
That's why I can't do Battle for Atlantis. He's Battle for Atlantis, right?
yeah,
Every year.
so yeah. But like, yeah, you want to put him on a random Washington State game at 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast? Sure, why not? Go for it. But if you're giving him the NCAA tournament, no. Which
Please, please no.
he wouldn't do. Luckily,
I would.
I will say, for the NCAA tournament, their broadcasts, the true TV ones, where it's like a random 13 seed getting killed, they're awesome. All those games are freaking amazing. And it's on True TV, and Practical Jokers is on afterwards, and it's great.
Followed by Punked.
Yeah, it's awesome. Nothing
yeah.
beats that. I love March.
Yeah,
Dude, it's coming up too, man. We got
we're so college basketball season, which it's funny that like it's kind of merges. I was always a football guy growing up. Played it forever. I I loved basketball, but it wasn't for me. I kind of just knew that,
Yeah.
going into high school and stuff. But just the atmospheres of college basketball, all especially even just the colors, the I love finding small teams that have just such a unique system and such a
Yeah.
unique like culture about them. Like Grand Canyon, I'll click on their games and listen to their play by play guys just to see all the unique stuff with it.
So the one really cool thing about being at Penn is kind of what you're talking about, that environment. People will hear this. People will. I'll tell people like, "Oh, I do stuff at Penn, in Philly," and they're like, "Do you do basketball?" I'm all like, at times they're all like, "So you've been to the Palestra?" I'm like, "Yes, I've been to the Palestra plenty of time." And there's such a lore behind this building that has been in existence for probably near 100 years.
Is that their gym?
Yeah, and it is almost identical to how it was 100 years ago. It's almost the same.
It's kind of like Fenway. Yeah.
Yeah, but Fenway is pretty. It's still very nice, like to sit there watch a game, and you're not going to tell a huge difference between Fenway and like new Yankee Stadium. Obviously, you'll tell a difference because of how it looks and stuff like that, but like the seats are similar.
Yeah.
Everything's very like it still feels like okay, it's a modern baseball field. It has that old lore and stuff like that and a history, but the thing with college basketball, a lot of teams have this, and the Palestra specifically, it is almost untouched from how it was 100 years ago. The floor changed. That's pretty much it. The bleachers are almost the same. They added a little bit nicer seats along the sidelines, but that's about it.
Everything
Uh,
else is
and everything else is the same, and it gets rocking. It is loud. I was there for Penn Temple. Obviously, a
Okay.
very big game, Big Five rivalry. And Temple upset Nova to begin the year. It was like their second game of the year. They just beat Houston.
mm-hmm.
Obviously, the North Philly people are gonna come in and they're gonna have a rocking time at the Palestra and almost tear that building down. And it's super loud, it's crazy, and it feels like a big game almost always. Even if like they don't pack it out, it's still like the Palestra. And a lot of new gyms don't have that. But it's like it makes it sound like it's a high school gym, but it's still way like it is.
Yeah.
It can hold the same as like almost any mid-major college gym in the country, but it's truly has that history, which is pretty damn cool.
That's awesome because NC State's basketball gym off campus holds 25,000 people. It doesn't feel like your Cameron Indoor
Yeah,
or anything like that. I mean, it gets loud obviously because there's a ton of people there, but
Well,
it just
and like we do, like Bryce he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But we have an old stadium like that on
Mhm.
our campus, and every now and then they'll have like one game. They'll do the NIT tournament there if we're in it, and it'll get rocking in Reynolds.
yeah.
I mean, it only holds what would you say, 5,000 maybe, Bryce?
yeah, probably around there. Well, the
It,
renovation's probably less.
yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds pretty similar to it. I think Cameron Indoor is a similar type of story,
Mhm.
obviously bigger, because it is UNC and compared to the University of Pennsylvania, right? The ACC versus the Ivy, it's kind of a big difference, you know. But that's another thing that's been really cool. Like I'm doing stuff in the Ivy, so I'm meeting people in the Ivy, who've been doing it for years, doing stuff with ESPN, and like I hate keep bringing him up because I screw this guy, right? He's one of my close friends, but like screw him. He like calls big games. Like he was at Wake Forest a couple weeks ago, calling a big ACC game. I can't remember who they were playing, but he was there earlier this year. He was at UNC. Like
That's awesome.
he's doing these games, and he's just like posting on his Instagram, just like the court, and I'm all like,
Come on, man.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit.
Just like let me live. Like that day I was like, oh yeah, it was like Penn Columbia women's basketball. Big game, by the way. Penn Columbia, and I'm on the sideline shooting the palestra, and he's like, hey Gary.
Living high.
And he's like,
Dome. Well, I guess a question for you off that is, do you have like a dream game or event you'd like to call?
so there's always like a goal that I want to hit that can change at any moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we want to go to the pros. That's everybody's dream. For me, if I could pin it down, I want to take Bob Papa's job from the Giants. He does the radio for the Giants, and he is awesome. And I would love to steal his job, but who knows if that could happen? That'd be awesome. So if I can get to do something like that in the short term, if I just love the big game atmosphere, and everything I'm doing is kind of getting more and more of that. First one, that you want to cross off is a big time rivalry. Penn Temple was the first one. That was huge.
Sure.
And it was a cool environment. I wasn't only on the ESPN Plus stream, we were doing the NBC Sports Philly stream. So like that was cool. People were at the bar and they were sending me pictures of myself on TV. Like girls I went to school with. Yeah, they sent me a picture of me, and they were all like, "Why are you on the TV at the bar?" I was all like,
"Go, baby, he's a chick man on TV."
I'm like, "Why are you watching Penn Temple?" I was all like, "What else am I gonna watch? This is awesome!" And they were right. It was a great game. And then the Penn Princeton game a couple weeks ago. That was awesome because I know so many people at Princeton, and it was the same kind of vibe. It was an NBC Sports Philly broadcast, so I was on regional television at the least, which was cool. Like my parents got to watch it; it was sick. And like all the Princeton people, half of them didn't know I was gonna be there. They didn't know.
Pop up on the screen.
Yeah, there were some people were watching it,
Dude,
and
that's scary.
There's Princeton fans, there's Princeton employees who would like text me and be all like, I didn't know you were working for the enemy. I'm all like, I've been working for the enemy for a hot minute.
Good while, yeah.
So it's bad because a lot of those guys at Princeton, give them a lot of love, but they've kind of called me the pen guy, and half the staffs on the broadcast kind of fluctuate to both because they have such close range. Like almost all their camera people, they go to Penn, they go to Princeton. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm one of the few people that are on camera that go to both. It's me and Renee Washington, who also does sideline with a lot of Philly schools and Penn specifically. She also does Princeton, so it's really funny when we both go back because they will give us a hard time because they're all like, "Oh, you're Penn Quakers." Like I was in the booth for football helping with stats or something, and Cody Crichell, who calls Princeton football, he was like looking up scores, and he was all like, "Oh, Gary, your Penn Quakers are up 14-7 or whatever." And I was all like, they're not my Penn
not
Quakers.
Yours, yeah.
Oh, by association.
Again, my checks today say Princeton University. I don't know what we're talking about. So I guess I would now at this point, yeah, I'm a Penn guy. I definitely have gone to them and I owe them a whole lot, but don't give me a hard time about it.
You don't deserve that. And I guess that kind of goes in a little bit too. I mean, I have an utmost respect. I think a broadcaster can make or break a game sometimes, especially if you're not truly like a sports person. If you're just a lay person enjoying a game, I think it means a ton for the entertainment value. But what is for people that might want to, that's something they're passionate about or want to go into, what is the daily grind and hustle of kind of trying to make it look like?
So it depends. I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I had to get some. It depends where you're at, right? At this point, I've built up a little bit of a rapport, at least locally, where I know someone's going to let me do games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actively seeking at this moment because I'm back in school and people are already letting me do things. I'm not, going to ESPN and saying, "Hey, put me on the NIT," right? Like I got a little bit of time for that. But that's again, if you're trying to get into going into broadcasting, especially on air, buckle up. You got a long road ahead of you. It can suck. It really can, but it's so awesome and rewarding. Last year, I think kind of tells you the grind that I had. I graduated, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. No clue. I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no plan to do it. And I was just wanted an opportunity. I was interning with the Wilmington Blue Rocks, not Wilmington down by you guys, Wilmington,
Yeah.
Delaware. Someone had me come on a podcast and they mixed up the Wilmingtons one time. But the Wilmington and Delaware, I was calling a couple games for them, but it still wasn't like a ton. There was a bunch of different broadcasters, and I probably got to do like 20 games or something in a whole short A season. It's like, yeah. But I still I'm super grateful for the opportunity, but I wanted to do more.
Mhm.
And I was just trying to find something. I took a grad assistant position at Incarnate Word in San Antonio. I don't live in Texas, so it was kind of difficult to make that work. It didn't work. And then I was back where minor league baseball season ended, and I was like, what do I do? I then was like, oh God, what do I do? Reached out to anyone I could. I reached out to people at Princeton. I knew a couple of people there, so it was easier to get in, but like I still had to do it. It was still very uncertain. They like let me do stats for like 3 football games. So like that's all we have at the moment. We like you, but that's all we got. I was like, sure. Took that. And then I just kept reaching out. I just kept trying to talk to people, man. And I talked to people at Penn. They let me come on. That's why I will forever be in debt to people at that school because they let me call games when nobody else would.
Mhm.
Same thing with a small D3 in Jersey City, New Jersey. They gave me an opportunity when no one else would. The University of Maryland. That was like the big one. They let me do wrestling for them on the Big Ten Network.
How about that?
I did it with Rock Harrison, who was a former wrestler at, I think, Virginia, either UVA or VT. I don't remember. I apologize. But right now, he's the best voice in wrestling, easily. He made my job super easy, and we got a re-air on the Big Ten Network. And Maryland gave me a chance when not a lot of people did. And it was just, I've been told no so many times.
Right.
And that's it sucks, but this is
I
part of
say
the
part
business.
of it. You got to stick your head out there.
Exactly. You just gotta keep going after it. And you gotta get reps. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like
Practice
how you
makes
gonna get better?
perfect.
You just
Yeah.
gotta do it. And I'm still not necessarily where I want to be, but I'm taking steps to get there. So that's
Oh, yeah.
kind of what it is.
Let's go, dude.
Daily
love-
though, it depends where you are. Right now, it's a little bit different for me than probably a typical broadcaster. Uh, Especially my age. I'm back in school, so I'm working for the school. I'm doing classes and stuff like that. Other people, they might be getting ready, obviously, like game prep and stuff like that. But they might be working another job. They might be door dashing or whatever. Like who knows what they're doing. It's
Yeah.
so different for everybody.
Well, even just seeing established people, like I don't know if, or I mean, I'm sure you've seen, but like with Kirk Herbstreit taking on the Thursday night football job, he's Kirk Herbstreit. He's on all the NCAA football games I played as a kid.
Yeah. That
But
dude's tired.
He was
Dude, he has to
flying.
be so happy that he's done.
There's two people, and they're in a similar spot, but they are insane in work rate. Both color guys, Kirk Herbstreit and Pat McAfee.
I love that man.
Those two are like the hardest working people you see. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith too. He's everywhere every day. I don't think that guy ever
He doesn't
never
sleep.
like. I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he doesn't work. And it's so funny. Like at some point, he's just doing side quests. Like he's doing motivational speaking. He's like a love counselor. Like he's crazy. But like yeah, that's a part of it. They're crazy. McAfee, and I'm a very casual like WWE fan. I grew up watching it, and like for some reason, almost everybody in broadcasting loves it. I don't know why, no idea why, but like all my friends that I went to school with started loving it. And then
Do you think it's the theatrics of it?
I think so because like it's entertainment.
It's
Like
acting,
it's
yeah.
It is fun.
sports entertainment. And it gives you a chance to breathe a little bit because you know like something big's gonna happen. You know something fun's gonna happen almost every show.
Hmm.
That's kind of cool about it. Like, you know, you're not gonna get a bad game. Like something's gonna happen. That's cool. I don't know why that may be it, but it's just a weird trait. McAfee was doing obviously his podcast. He was doing
Which I
college
watch
football.
every day.
It's great. It is very good. But he was doing college football, his podcast, and then yesterday he was at the Royal Rumble, and no one said he was going to show up. Like he
Well,
was.
dude, I went to local SmackDown right down the road where the Canes play. I'm just there one Friday night. It was a $20 ticket. Like, I'll go. Pat McAfee shows up unannounced. He didn't even say anything about it on his podcast that day, and I'm freaking out.
He's just a cool guy. But with that, so when I'm at Penn, it's great because the Wells Fargo Center's just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes away.
Hmm.
So I was calling men's soccer match, like Penn Cornell, I think. And I was telling my friend who was on the crew, he was all like Extreme Rules is in Philadelphia. I'm all like, okay, sick. Do you want to go? Like, I don't know. And he was all like, let's see how much tickets are. So it was a doubleheader. The first game happens, the women's game happens, and I'm all like, how much are tickets? He was all like, they're like $40 right now. I'm all like, all right. If they go up, we're not going. But if they stay at 40, we'll go after the game. And he was like, perfect. Zeros on the clock. He looks at me as I take my headset off. He's all like, they're $40. I'm like, then buy him. Then buy him. And we slide over to the event like right after it. And it was a cool time. And I got to like be a fan for the first time in a hot minute.
Sure,
And I was so annoying. I didn't know what was going on. Because I didn't like watch wrestling for like at least a couple months at that point. And I was just being so annoying.
Screaming.
Rooting for the bad guy in every match. If I knew somebody,
someone has to.
yeah, if I knew some wrestler, I was gonna cheer for them as hard as I could, and they could be the heel. I don't know. I was just cheering, being an asshole.
Well, dude, you don't have any allegiances in wrestling.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think Daniel Cormier was a special guest referee for one of the matches, and I hate Daniel Cormier.
What's wrong with DC, man? He's a human meatball.
He's an annoying fighter because he's a good wrestler. But we're in a cage. We're in an octagon. I want you to hit somebody. And John Jones made him cry like 3 times. So
I can't wait for his comeback. And
we are big UFC guys. And I guess maybe that's a sport we haven't talked about. But John Anik is one of my favorite broadcasters. And just kind of what he's done to UFC. I don't know if it's at the stature yet as some of those other Mount Rushmore guys, but I think as UFC grows, he will be like the centerfold of what kind of play-by-play is.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if Joe Rogan can be overtaken there, but
well, he's more of a he doesn't do Anik I think does more of the like Joe does he makes the matches fun, and Anik does the like what is going on, like what is happening.
Yeah.
I think we don't know really how to broadcast UFC yet. And I think Joe Rogan's kind of messed that up a little bit. I love Joe Rogan. I think he's great. I think he is kind of that thing that makes it fun. But again, he's very different from a color commentator in any other sport. He truly will take it over. And that's fine. But like it's that like, oh, there's a big knockout. No, there's not a big call. Like if someone hits a buzzer beater, they'll go silent. That's not going to happen in the UFC. You're going to have Joe Rogan screaming, which is fine. It makes it seem like so much bigger of a knockout, but it's very different from any other sport that's broadcasted because it's a lot of like Joe Rogan screaming is on the same level of somebody recording a school fight in high school and yelling World Star. It's the same concept in theory, which is very different from like a buzzer beater, but it's the same thing in the sport, So
Dude, you can't have me looking at Joe Rogan screaming like someone saying World Star. That's just gonna ruin my image.
it's the same concept.
I
It
mean, it
really
kind of
is.
is.
Like I haven't been in my fair share of brawls, but I know that I have been the guy screaming World Star in a few of them.
I think we all have.
Exactly, it's a fun time.
But dude, we don't want to keep you too much longer. No, we've already been on for a hot second. But I got one last question for you before we go. It should take 2 seconds.
Oh,
Top
I
three
will
Italian meals ever.
top three Italian meals ever.
Yeah, we like to
So,
do top threes here. So
are
I'm
you
throwing
guys
you a bone.
okay? Firstly, I will talk forever, so you don't got to worry about that. I just feel bad if you guys are editing this. I apologize. I made it
No, I mean
difficult.
we're not editing anything.
I
Raw
was gonna say,
footage,
if you
man.
guys got to cut this up, I feel bad. I'm
Raw
so sorry.
footage, man.
And when I was in school, we did a top five on our weekly podcast. So it was the same kind of concept. Top three Italian meals ever. You're gonna like hate me because I'm so not Italian. Even though I'm from Jersey, I should love so many different Italian meals, but um, you know,
Do you rather have a different
Yeah,
no,
food group, or we're
what's
going
the
with?
food of Jersey though? I've never been to Jersey. I
we
don't.
are we are perfectly fine with Italian because that kind of fits with Jersey, honestly. But I think the most Jersey food, uh, with an Italian hint in there, honestly, it's a cop out and it's such an American choice. But pizza, come on,
You can't go wrong with it.
it's
I will
great.
say, I've heard from people that are like Sicilian Italian that pizza in Italy is just not really a thing. But what the Italians in New York and that New Jersey area did to pizza, I mean, that's what made it so amazing.
Yeah, so it's also been bad because I went to school in South Jersey and it's so different from me because I'm like right on the shore. Exactly where they had the show,
That was
I
you.
live I live 15 minutes from there.
So you and Snooki are pretty tight.
Yeah, we're cousins. It's crazy.
That's wild.
It's great when when Jersey people go to school, down south, they'll hit people with the like, oh, I'm from the Jersey Shore. Snooki's my cousin. I was fist bumping with Paulie D. There's so many Jersey again, men and women, but mainly gals that'll go to southern schools. Alabama being the biggest one. I don't know why, but
Interesting.
I don't know why. So pizza number one.
Okay.
I'm if I'm a pasta guy, I am such a like basic ass pasta person. Where like give me some good old spaghetti, baby, spaghetti and meatballs.
And meatballs.
Great, yeah, you gotta have your
Yeah.
protein.
Or meat sauce. Meatballs, meat
That's
sauce.
fine. That's fine. I do love it, but it's not. I'm keep them full. That's
Okay, fair. I'm
pause a
more of a
little
meat
bit,
sauce guy,
but
but it's fine. Agree, disagree there.
pause a little bit on that for me, but whatever. And then s- is it? uh, I guess it would be Italian, but like I still feel like I'm copping out by picking lasagna.
No, that's
I
No,
Italian.
lasagna
100%.
is super Italian.
100%.
That's the Italian. That's like if you could like cut open. Why am I blanking on his name? I mean, like Sal from the Back Practical Jokers. I think he would just start bleeding out lasagna.
That okay, then I don't feel as bad. Like the first time, like my family never made lasagna, so like I had it at like an ex's of mine, and she was like, "Do you like lasagna?" I was like, "I mean, I can't tell you the last time I had it." She was like, "Why are you being so difficult?" I'm all like, "I don't know." And then I had it; it was great. Like, so like
Fantastic.
if we keep having lasagna, it's great, baby.
Yeah, no, I mean Garfield likes it.
I'm
I
a
think it's
I'm a
the goat
I'm a big
personally.
orange cat guy, so I rock with it.
Well, Gary, it's been great talking to you, man. Honestly, because again, like I said earlier, I think it's such a fascinating world. It's one that I've had no experience in, but it seems like the broadcasting kind of industry, it really does take go-getters and like
Yeah.
self-starters to like really grind and move up the ranks. And I mean, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. We appreciate it a
it's
lot.
It's been a really fun time. Thank you guys for letting me do it. And even though I've gone on a bunch of different tangents, I hope I helped you guys
Dude,
get a little
we
bit of
go
an insight on
everywhere.
things.
We go everywhere. And I mean, I guess the last thing that, and this is kind of, you can't compromise. I need to hear you on a Giants game at some point. I need to turn on my radio, flip it over to whatever channel it is up in New York, and hear you call a Wandale
Danny
Robinson
Dimes.
touchdown.
Danny Dimes to
Oh.
Wandale Dingle.
My if I gotta hear another year of Isaiah Hodgins being the #1 receiver for the Giants, I don't know how much more I'm going to listen to New York Giants football.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got. I guess you were at that right age when the helmet catch and
Yeah.
the second
So
The
Mario Manningham. Yeah.
I'm very scared that I witnessed all the best moments in Giants history while I was like 8 and 12 years old. That's gonna hurt if I don't get to see another good Giants run for the rest of my life. I've been giving Eagles fans too much bad vibes, and now they're gonna go win 2 Super Bowls while I continue to berate them. I feel terrible.
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes will get it done.
I God
So
do I hope so. The city, as a person who works in the city of Philadelphia, I shouldn't bash on the Eagles as much as I do, but I cannot stop.
Just stay off the streets if they win.
Yeah. A buddy of mine did a podcast and he essentially like marked me Philadelphia villain #1
Yeah,
because I
dude.
said the link is not that loud. Home field advantage is fake, and he was all like, Gary hates the city of Philadelphia, and I work at St. Joe's
I was about to
and
say,
Penn.
don't show your face on those streets. People know who you are. Else you got murked in the middle of a Super Bowl parade.
Yeah, I can't go to North Philly anytime in the next 2 weeks. It'd be tough on me.
Yeah, I guess what's the I mean, we'll tune in for your next what's the next big, you got a pin game coming up or
So I will be on the sideline for. I gotta figure out which Penn. I think it's Penn Cornell, but I could be very wrong. Very wrong. One of the two this weekend. I'm not on both, but I'm on one of the two. I will be on. Oh yeah, that's a fun one. Penn Cornell will be on the sidelines for that. Cornell, just to give you a little preview. Penn, Jordan Dingle, he's a top 5 scorer in the country, one of the best shooting guards in the nation currently. At Penn, he leads the Ivy in points per game. He's a guy who can put the ball in the bucket. It's what he does. You want to talk about putting the ball in the bucket? Cornell does that better than almost anybody in the country. One of the highest scoring teams in all of the land. They love to shoot. They'll drain them too. If they get going, it's going to be a fun one to watch. And if you guys, I can't tell you this.
are you saying we should take an over here?
It would be safe to say if you go and look at the numbers, I promise you, Cornell has probably hit the over in like 90% of their games. They can score. And if Dingle and Slackert for Penn really show up and get going, because the problem with Penn, they've been super inconsistent. They've looked like the team that's going to win the Ivy outright, and then they've looked like the team who should not make the Ivy tournament. While Cornell they've been one of the best offenses in the country, but their defense is atrocious. They don't play defense. They don't believe in that. So, like, if the Penn team with Slackard and Dingle, they both put up a 20-piece, like they're both capable of doing every night, and the Bigs kind of get on the roll that they have been, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Offensively, they're going to score a lot of points. And Cornell does that begin with. Yeah, always hit the over.
Let's go, baby.
we
Let's go
tuned in.
overs. Let's go money. I don't know if we're cheering for Penn or not. I can't tell if you have a bias towards them or not, but
That's my goal. Don't have a bias.
Okay. There we go. Well, dude, we'll be tuning in this weekend. And just thanks one more time. For real.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
Yep. See ya.